Welcome back. So today we are going to tear down a huge assumption most of us have about exercise. We tend to see it as, a chore. It's what you do because you ate too much, or it's just about looking good.
Which totally misses the bigger picture. It's such a narrow view. We really need to see it as a hardware upgrade.
The hardware-software gap. I love that analogy. We spend all this time upgrading our software, learning new things, working, thinking.
Right.
But we're running it on hardware that is, it's lagging. If your biological hardware is overheating, it really doesn't matter how great your software is.
You're going to crash. It's inevitable. And this isn't about getting a six-pack. This is about exercise as maybe the single most efficient tool for cognitive performance.
Okay, optimization. Let's dig into that because it's such a buzzword.
Yeah.
What is actually physically happening to the brain when we get up and move?
It really starts with the protein. It's called BDNF. That's brain-derived neurotrophic factor.
I've heard it called it's a miracle fertilizer for the brain.
That's the one. And look, I know that sounds a little scammy.
It does, a little bit.
Fair enough. But the neurochemistry here is, it's solid. When you do aerobic exercise, your body just floods your system with BDNF. And this stuff, it doesn't just maintain your brain cells, it actively builds new connections.
In the hippocampus, right.
Precisely, the memory and learning center. And what this does is it creates what some neuroscientists call a golden window.
A golden window.
Yeah, for about 2 hours right after you exercise, your brain is just primed for learning. That's the absolute peak time to, say, learn a language or work through some really complex logic.
So there's a real productivity ROI.
Yeah.
You're saying that the BDNF flush kind of clears out the mental noise?
Exactly.
So that 1 hour of sweat could turn maybe 5 hours of frustrating work into 3 hours of focused, deep work.
That's the efficiency logic. You spend time to buy back focus. But there's another side to this. You can build this amazing brain, but there's a huge factor that can destroy all that performance, stress. And specifically, the way modern work it biologically short-circuits our bodies. We're living in a cortisol factory.
Right, because it's a total mismatch.
Right.
Primitive stress was, you see a predator.
And you move, you fight, or you run. You burn off all that chemical energy.
But now you get a stressful email and you just sit there.
You sit, and that cortisol, that stress hormone, it just builds and builds with no physical release. That's where you get inflammation, anxiety, brain fog.
So exercise is the release valve.
It's the counterbalance. It releases things like dopamine and serotonin that physically neutralize the cortisol.
And this connects to that resilience boundary idea, right? The concept that the gym isn't just for muscles, it's for training your nervous system.
It is, yeah. Think about high-intensity training or even just lifting heavy weights. You are putting your body under controlled stress.
Your heart's pounding. Muscles are burning.
Yes. You are literally teaching your nervous system what stress feels like in a safe environment. You're habituating it.
So if you can stay calm when your heart rate is at 150 on a stationary bike, you're better equipped to stay calm when your boss is yelling at you.
You build the capacity. You can function through those physiological symptoms. But that brings up the big question. If this is all so beneficial, why do so many people just stop?
Because we aim way, way too high. We think we have to become an athlete overnight. The key is minimum viable exercise, MVE.
I like that. The goal isn't really exercise, it's activation. You want to lower the barrier to entry so low that it's harder to say no than to just do it.
We're talking about microdosing it. 10 burpees between meetings. Taking the stairs instead of the elevator. You don't need a gym. You just need to get your heart rate up.
Into what they call zone 2.
And you don't need a fancy watch for that, right?
No, not at all. Zone 2 is basically the effort level where you can still talk, but you'd kind of rather not. You're a little breathless, but you're not gasping for air.
That's the sweet spot for that BDNF release.
It is. And you can stack the deck in your favor, environmental design.
Like leaving your running shoes right by the front door.
Exactly. Removes a decision. Or habit stacking, like you only listen to this deep dive while you're on a walk, it just becomes the default.
So really this all just flips the whole script on wear and tear. We think using something wears it out.
Right, like a car.
But the human body, it's the opposite. It degrades when you don't use it. It's, what's the term? Anti-fragile.
That's the core of it. You get stronger because of stress, not in spite of it. Physical stress is actually the maintenance requirement.
Which kind of leaves us with a final thought for you to take away. If physical stress makes your body smarter and more resilient, what other uncomfortable challenges in your life are actually necessary upgrades that you might be avoiding?
That's something worth thinking about.
Thanks for listening to The Deep Dive. Go get those heart rates up. We'll see you next time.